I grew up in a time when most of us knew the basics of how an automobile engine worked. We knew that if you did certain things, your engine would run just fine. And if you didn't do those things, your engine would not. And if you did things that were directly contrary to the mechanics of an internal combustion engine, your engine would not work at all. As humans, we are all prone to contradictory thinking. We know something is not true, and yet we want it to be true, and so we adjust our worldview in a way that accommodates that fantasy. And we all do this to one extent or another, but communists have brought this type of thinking to a whole new level. And amazingly, it's ingrained in the fundamental philosophies of some of their so-called thought leaders. The de facto king of communism, Karl Marx, for example, acknowledged capitalism as the most productive force the world has ever seen, and basically lived off the largesse of his rich friends. But he saw this as merely a stepping stone to the utopian communist ideal. The current leaders in China, having pulled off something near an economic miracle by essentially converting to capitalism, are now putting their engine in reverse and expecting it to keep moving forward. Actually, I should just state that. Because you see, it's not really capitalism. It's actually socialism with Chinese characteristics. With those characteristics being capitalism. Now, some notable communist philosophers showed at least much more intellectual integrity than the vast majority of today's left. They were able to accept what their own eyes were telling them. They just didn't like the implications, and therefore they invented a nonsensical philosophy which felt good to them, but which they knew, in the rational part of their brain, would never work in practice. Today's leftists simply refuse to see what their own eyes are telling them, and instead spend their lives attacking capitalism as entirely without merit or benefit. A stance which has been clearly disproven by practical experience and history over and over again. Now, communists tend to be numerically challenged and seem to think that an engine is less a mechanical device and more a state of mind. So, leftists, communists, and socialists, let me try to explain this in a way that you can understand, if not accept. Free markets have proven to be the most powerful way to improve the human condition for the rich, the poor, and everyone in between. This is an indisputable statistical fact. There can be no rational argument, and there is no even remotely valid statistical proof in the other direction. Communists. Free markets are to humans what a long neck is to a giraffe, what a trunk is to an elephant, what thick fur is to a polar bear. Now, you may want to help the giraffe by shortening its neck. You may want to protect the elephant by cutting off its trunk, or save the polar bear by shaving it. Ugh. Anyway, you are destined to fail. You have failed every time you have tried, everywhere you have tried, and you will always fail in the future, no matter what the circumstances. In short, and sorry to get technical, but an internal combustion engine will not run on water. You are doing something that is antithetical to the very basic nature of the organism you are dealing with. Communists, you should be thanking the heavens, or in your case, I guess, the almighty peasant, for being born into a species that thrives on freedom instead of brute force. Don't you understand? This is an incredibly rare and valuable gift. All you have to do is nothing. Okay, just pretend that the individual freedom of your fellow humans is a production line in a communist factory, and put as much effort into controlling their behavior as you do into your factory work. Communism, you see, it only works in one place, inside your heads. Now, I know it's lonely in there, what with all that empty space, but communists, give us a break. Leave communism where it belongs, as an interesting but hardly reality-based fairy tale, minus the happy ending. Hey, thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because every time that bell rings, a socialist loses his wings. I don't know why it's true, it's just science.